hearing of October 30th, 2025. I will call this meeting to order at 5:03 p.m. And I guess I should read this. In accordance with Chapter 2, Section 3.2 of the Winchester Code of Bylaws, the Winchester School Committee is holding a public hearing on school committee sponsored warrant articles for the November 3rd, 2025 start of fall annual town meeting. Not previously the subject of a public hearing on Thursday, October 30th, 2025. So we will have our open public hearing dealing with Article 30 to see if the town will transfer the care, custody, management, and control of the Mystic School from the school committee to the select board for general municipal purposes and take any other action in relation thereto. And Article 34 to see if the town will vote to raise and appropriate, transfer from available funds, or otherwise provide a sum of money for the purpose of engaging professional consulting services to assist and/or train the school department and planning department in the use of geographic information systems, GIS technology. These services may include, but not be limited to, analyzing and mapping the residence locations of Winchester residents and students, assessing current and projected enrollment patterns, supporting planning efforts related to housing, zoning, transportation, and public facilities, and upgrading existing software as needed, or take any other action in relation thereto. So without further ado, I see that we have a number of participants. So basically with Article 30, the school committee the school committee has found that the Mystic School, which had closed for public school service in 1983 and has since been used by the town side for Winchester recreation departmental offices and programming, and then also for the nonprofit organization Kids Corner. The school department and the school committee have found that with enrollment trends as they are, we do not believe that the Mystic School is, or we find that it is no longer essential to the school department and the school committee's purposes. So we are looking to surplus the building, to the town and the select board, which aligns it much more so with its use on the general municipal side. So with that in mind, if we have any questions, please feel free to raise your digital hand. And I'll give it a second more, but I don't see any digital hands raised.
I can confirm that's the case, Madam Chair.
Thank you. So we'll move on to Article 34, which the school committee and the school department are looking to obtain funding towards geographic information services, which would help with district zoning and future planning for the district. And then also the school committee or the planning board had agreed to co-sponsor this article, but they voted after the warrant had closed. So it just says in the background that the planning board will also be taking or making use of this potential service. So if there are any questions on this, I invite you to raise your digital hand. I see that Ms. Goldblatt has raised her hand, so. Yep, but now it went back down. So I'll give another chance. But otherwise, I would, okay, the digital hand went back up.
I just elevated her.
Thank you.
So, Dr. Goldblatt, if you could unmute yourself and turn your camera on so we can see you, that would be great. Not hearing anything coming through, so just want to make you aware of that in case.
That's correct. Yeah, I don't hear anything.
You are unmuted though.
Yeah. So I would suggest if you're having problems with the Zoom, another option would be to
Call in
yeah
using the Zoom link.
to call in using the Zoom link using a mobile phone.
I believe.
Yeah, she dropped off, so maybe
Dropped
she's
off.
dialing again. Yeah.
Okay, so we'll keep an eye out for her. In the meantime, I don't see any other questions at the moment. I do see our student representatives, though.
Yeah, maybe we should
Maybe we should elevate them.
We should
Inga and
elevate
Julia.
Ingo and Julia.
Thank you. Welcome, Inga.
Welcome.
Welcome, Julia. Okay. Hello. Oh, you have the background too.
Yeah, I just got this background.
Don't be alarmed. It's a settings issue.
It's not an issue. I think that's pretty cool.
Feature.
There's like a little uniformity here. Okay. Do we have Miss or Dr. Goldblatt back? Oh, wait. No, I am not seeing her.
And we don't see
Yeah.
anyone in the digital waiting room.
No.
No.
Well, okay, yeah, I have not seen that.
I guess I would suggest that if there is a question, given I know that we have a really hard stop for the end of this meeting tonight, we'll give it maybe another 60 seconds and then I mean, I can even reach out to her, but if there's a question, happy
Right.
to answer it.
I'd say we have, well, our regular meeting starts at 5:15, so
Yeah, we can
we can
always
hang out in Zoom
Until-
inertia for a little
then.
bit until
Yeah,
5:14
exactly.
and a half, and then we will adjourn.
Okay.
So
All right.
in the
are there any-
meantime, if anybody else has any other questions, please feel free to raise your digital hand. Oh, and here's Dr. Goldblatt back. Okay. Dr. Hackett, again, if you could elevate her. We'll give it another try.
Hello,
And
could you hear me?
Yes, and if you could turn on your camera, that would be great.
Okay, 1 second.
And thank you for your patience.
I'm sorry, I don't think I can turn on my camera. It's
That's
not.
okay. If you
Okay.
can't, just go ahead
All right.
and tell us
Just
your
go
name.
ahead.
Yes.
Just
Apologies,
us.
apologies. Yes, apologies for
Okay.
the wait. My question is just as a general concern for the long-term
I'm sorry,
sustainability.
could you just introduce yourself and then also give your address?
Name
just so that-
and address
For the record,
please.
name and
Yeah.
address for the, yes, sorry.
Yes, yes. My name is Luna Goldblatt. I am a member of Precinct 8. I'm actually not an official town meeting. I'm a resident of Precinct 8. I'm at 284 Cross Street in Winchester. My question is concerns the long-term financial sustainability of the town. So given that our tax revenue statutory growth at 2.5% and the recent historical growth of school budget as about 75% of the town budget, growing at an upper single digit, is that in this background, is this GIS project something that can wait for a few years?
Madam Chair, I'm happy to take that if I've
Go
sort of been
ahead, Dr.
taking the
Matthews.
points
Yes,
on this one.
you have.
So I would say that you know, the sort of, well, it's there. This is a one-time expense, very similar to some of the other things that we've needed funding for in the past. And I would say that it's, you know, less than $100,000 is expected to be spent by the school committee, less than $50,000 spent by the planning board. And just to give a really quick amount of background, we had a meeting, a three-way meeting among the school department, the planning department, and the engineering department. Beth Rudolph, our former town manager, was actually the only person who had sort of an ongoing involvement with the GIS software that Winchester already owns. And with her departure, it in some ways it had already happened, right? Because she was elevated from being town engineer to being town manager. But with that departure, it was more or less in a position where there was nobody in the town who actually had expertise to use that software. There are a lot of reasons why it's helpful for us to be able to use GIS. And so on the engineering side, at some point, I expect they will come back to us asking for an appropriation to have the town remapped. It has not been done for over 10 years. That actually requires either computer modeling or flying a plane over the town, and it does need to be done on a periodic basis. But that didn't really fit the sort of hopeful collaboration that we had between the planning department and the school department, because I think that we can use the same consultant to do this. And just to be very clear, so up to $100,000 in funding for school committee, up to $50,000 in funding for the planning department. On the school committee side, our request is specifically for advanced support, training, and reporting in GIS technology. And our need is actually to address some of the complex planning and operational challenges that we faced, including analyzing the residential distribution of students, evaluating our current school attendance zones, particularly in view of the changes we've had in the past several years, and also being able to plan for long-term capacity needs and resource allocation. So what I would say is this is a fairly small amount of money that is targeted towards trying to save us a lot more money in the long run. As you know, we've got a new elementary school that just opened. The capacity at this moment in time, it's sort of under capacity. We have obviously made the decision we've made already about the Mystic School, but the Parkhurst School, which was most recently used as a place to educate our students from Lynch. Prior to that, the students from VO during construction, is currently not occupied. At some point, it was a home for central office, but I think we've sort of been made aware by our central administration it's not sort of, you know, the ideal amount of space or location for that moving forward. And in order to take action on that, as well as to sort of understand in view of the enrollment study that's been done recently in collaboration with EFPBC, where our students are going to go moving forward, I would say this is a very small relative allocation to save us money in the coming 5 years. And that's sort of, I think, something this school committee has been committed to, particularly in our visioning sessions that we did over the summer, is to make sure that we're actually addressing the future needs of the district in a planful and financially responsible way. I will also point out that the finance committee that you serve on has, you know, sort of asked in the past about sort of under allocation of students to classrooms. And one of the ways in which that's been somewhat challenging is specifically around the idea that, you know, students are zoned into particular places in the district. And, you know, we need to make sure that we have a real understanding of where our students are geographically in Winchester, where they're expected to be in the coming years, and make sure that, you know, where they're assigned to right now sort of matches the capacity of those buildings in the best possible way. So I think that I would not support the idea of postponing this, because I think it could actually cost us a lot more money from a budgetary standpoint moving forward if we don't undertake this data gathering effort now. it could actually be something that costs us a lot more than the up to $100,000 that's asked for in this appropriation. So hopefully that answers your question. If Mr. Marin or Dr. Hackett have anything else they'd like to add, or the chair, I'm happy to have you do that.
I think you captured it very well.
Thank you for the response. I have some follow-up questions, but being cognizant of the community's time and the agenda, I will let you proceed. Thank you.
Feel
If
free
you'd
to.
like to send those in writing to us, then
Yes,
that would be
I
great.
will. Thank
Yeah,
you.
we can also quickly chat, but it's something that I think is as I said, a small investment in hopefully saving a lot more moving forward. Thanks so much.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
I see we're at the end of our
And-
time, and we didn't have any other hands raised. So I think at this
I
point, I'd
think-
be happy to make a motion to adjourn from our public hearing and move into our regular session if you'd accept that, Madam Chair.
Thank you, I would. Do we have a second?
Second.
Thank you. And all in favor with a roll call vote, Dr. Matthews,
Aye.
Mr. Hopcroft,
Aye.
Ms. Minyarji.
Aye.
I'm just scanning. The chair votes aye, and the vote is unanimous. Thank you very much, and we will, I guess we are using the same link, Dr. Hackett?
Yeah.
Okay.
Are we just rolling
All
right
right.
in?
So we're going to roll right into our regular meeting of the school committee. So thank you very much and welcome again. I will call our regular meeting of the school committee to order on October 30th at 5:20 p.m. And we'll begin with reading off the agenda. We have a goodly sized consent agenda. So beginning with a $1,000 donation from the Teamsters Local 25 Autism Fund for the Lynch Elementary Connections Program. And I'm sorry, I'm going to just jump to my iPad so I can see it more easily. Okay, the WIFI Fall 2025 grant funding in the amount of $17,498. Preliminary approval of Spring 2026 Winchester High School choir trip to Carnegie Hall, New York City. Minutes from May 22nd, July 10th, July 16th, and September 11th, 2025. Consideration of a second reading of policies. The updated policies from MASC, CA Administration Goals, CBD Superintendent's Contract, CBI Evaluation of the Superintendent, CHA CHC Development and Dissemination of Procedures, CHCA Approval of Handbooks and Directives, JI Student Rights and Responsibilities, JIH Searches and Interrogations, JJE Fundraising for Student Activities, KBE Relations with Parents and Parent Organizations, KI Visitors to the Schools. We also have some policies for deletion, including CC Organizational Chart and Lines of Responsibility, JJER Procedures for Fundraising for Student Activities, JJIFR Athletics Concussions Regulation, and JLD for Guidance Program, and JLDE for the Guidance Program. I see that we have Miss Maggie Vanderbred here from the executive director from WIFI, and we would invite her to speak and tell us a little bit more about the grants that she is bringing to us from WIFI.
Oh, hi. Well, thanks for having me.
Thank you.
I don't think my camera is on. Okay. Okay, can you hear me now?
I can hear you.
Yep, your
We
camera's
sure can.
off.
Thank you.
Yeah, I don't know if I can turn it on.
No worries.
Sorry. I'm in the car between children's activities now, so
I get that.
yes. So we're very excited about these grants. We only have a few so far this fall. So we're hoping for a larger grant cycle in the spring. But we have 4 of them, one of them providing Mandarin text through an online subscription for both at McCall and at the high school. We also have one for some new equipment for the technology center in the media center at the high school, one for nature journaling at Lynch, which we're very excited about. It's a pilot program trying to get kids more outside and combining science and art together. And then the last one is actually happening on Tuesday, where we're sending all the English teachers to professional development. So we're excited, and I'm happy if there's any questions to answer them.
That's marvelous. As one who has somebody taking Mandarin, I think that's very exciting to hear that there are some new Mandarin texts coming. And I
Sure,
also
thanks.
love the nature journaling at Lynch. I think that's a lovely activity, and what a venue for it.
Yeah, I think it's going to be really great. And hopefully this is the pilot program, and then hopefully it can expand to some of the other elementary schools and some other grades as well.
Any other comments or questions from the committee?
Yeah, if I could weigh in, and as a second member who has a student taking Mandarin, and obviously supporter of Lynch. But my question, Maggie, was you mentioned that it's not as large a grant cycle, and I was curious if that's due to the funding side of the equation or the application side of the equation.
Both actually. So WIFI has less funding this fall than we typically have the past few years. Just donations are down because of the economy. So please, anyone out there who wants to join us at the fall gala, we'd love to have you, where we do some fundraising. But also we still have a few grants that we are working on getting some more data on before we submit them for your approval. So
Okay, and you answered my other question, which was whether you thought it was the economy or just the lumpiness of when money comes in. But it's a good call to folks who can afford it to help support WIFI, to help support our schools. So thank you.
Thank you so much.
all right,
Any other questions?
Thank you for all that you do, Maggie.
Yeah,
And Author Fest was
just a
such
big
a
thank you.
success.
thank you.
Good.
Not a day planned, but it turned out to be a very, very good day. So.
Lemon into lemonade, indeed. I
Yeah.
really appreciate it. We had a great time going around the town center, and it allowed parents an opportunity to participate in Author Fest, which I hope gives your organization more visibility as well, because it was a free event for the entire community to enjoy. So thank you. I have my mask ready from the masquerade.
That was amazing turn on the dime to get that
Yes.
into place.
Pivoted quickly.
That's the word.
Nobody appreciated it more than I did, Maggie, given some of the emails I was getting about calling school off. So
We were
You,
happy.
s-
It was
you saved the day, and every parent, you gave them something to do on that day with their child.
we're
That's
happy.
right.
So for a while, I wasn't sure we were going to pull it off, but it came through. So it was a community effort.
You did it.
Thank you.
So, all right. Let me see. I'm going back to the consent agenda, but I have lost it on my screen with my 50
No,
tabs.
I was going to say, I'm happy to make a motion that we accept the consent agenda in full, with thanks in particular to the two donors, as well as excitement for revisiting the spring 2026 choir trip to Carnegie Hall for final approval later on. And also thanks to the policy subcommittee, in particular the chair, for all of the work on these policies. So I guess we just look for a second.
I'm
Right,
happy
and
to
the work
second.
of Ms. Minyarji and Ms. Blass on the minutes.
Oh, yes,
I'm
as
happy.
well. Sorry.
I'm happy to second, but would just ask that the minutes reflect that I abstained from the minutes of the May 22nd meeting, as I wasn't present for it.
Okay,
Great.
So noted. Thank you, Tom.
thank you.
With that, I'm happy to second.
All in favor? Dr. Matthews,
Aye.
Ms. Minyarji,
Aye.
Mr. Hopcroft,
Aye.
busily scanning. The chair votes aye, so the vote is unanimous on the consent agenda. Thank you so much. We'll move right on to the reports and action items. So first of all, we will take up consideration of town meeting articles. So there were a number of articles and let me just see, motions that I thought might be pertinent to the school committee, which I'm going to have to go through my tabs again. So, at town meeting, we may be asked to take a position on this. Could be favorable action, could be that we take that we have no opinion. So I had listed a number of articles here. The list may not be comprehensive. If there is something else that members feel that should be here, then please feel free to speak up. But first of all, we'll take up the Article 8 capital projects. Motion 1 is with the Lincoln School chiller final design and construction. Ms. Minyarji, would you like to talk about this? Or otherwise, I have my little blurb here.
Yes, so it's basically an extended version of your summary here. The chiller is going to be replaced with a heat pump, which is environmentally more effective. It uses a different kind of refrigerant that is cheaper. And the parts for the existing chiller are obsolete in some cases and extremely costly in others. It's beyond its 20-year life, it's creeping up to 25 years. In addition, air conditioning is important at Lincoln Elementary School. It houses half of our central office, as we know. It also has a series of summer camps and other enrichment programs that service hundreds of Winchester children every day, all year round, not just as one of our elementary schools, again, but over the summer as well. And yes,
And
so
we
the cost is
previously
about,
supported it.
and we have previously supported it, yes. And the capital planning committee has also supported it and is recommending favorable action. The cost is $2.2 million with 50,000 being recommended from WCCP and CPA funding. That will also be put in front of fall town meeting. So
Just
it brings the
confirming,
cost down to 2.15 million.
and just confirming the unit would reside on the roof of the building.
Yes, both units will go on
Yes.
the roof.
Great.
So I would suggest that we vote separately on each of these motions. So I would accept a motion on motion 1
I
of
would
Article
move.
8.
I would move that the school committee recommend favorable action on motion 1 of Article 8 for fall town meeting.
Second.
All in favor, Ms. Minyarji,
Aye.
Dr. Matthews,
Aye.
Mr. Hopcroft,
Aye.
Ms. Bergstrom,
Aye.
and the chair votes aye, and the vote is unanimous in favor, in support of the Lincoln School chiller final design and construction. Next up, we have motion 3, the Ambrose School pedestrian walkway. Ms. Minyarji, you can take this, or I can zip through my little summary.
Yes, so the current pavers that are in front of at the main entrance of Ambrose Elementary School have been deteriorating over time. The DPW did a great job of handcrafting pavers in place of the ones that have been falling apart, but it proved to be a very labor intensive and expensive process. So um, we decided to go with poured in place concrete and replacing all of the pavers as a more cost effective and sustainable way to maintain that space, given that it's a high traffic and high visibility location. I believe that's it.
That's great. So I'd be happy to make a motion that the school committee recommend favorable action on motion 3 of Article 8 capital projects for fall town meeting.
Happy to second
Second.
it unless you
Second.
want to do it, Stephanie.
you.
Maybe Stephanie will
Yeah,
take that.
sure. Second.
Thank you. All in favor? Ms. Minyarji,
Aye.
Ms. Bergstrom,
Aye.
Dr. Matthews,
Aye.
Mr. Hopcroft.
Aye.
And the chair votes aye, and the vote is unanimous. Next up, we have motion 8 from the capital planning project recommendations. And this is the implementation of the risk assessment plan, which school committee has talked about over the years. And Ms. Minyarji, would you like to take this one as well?
Sure, absolutely.
Okay, go ahead.
So this is for updating our security infrastructure at the Mystic School, including cameras, door entry, and lighting around the space. Pretty simple and important to anyone that enters that building.
Absolutely. So I would be happy to make a motion that we recommend favorable action on motion 8 for Article 8 capital projects at Fall Town Meeting.
Thank you. Do we have a second?
Happy to second it.
Second.
Thank you. And all in favor, Ms. Minyarji,
Aye.
Mr. Hopcroft,
Aye.
Dr. Matthews,
Aye.
Ms. Bergstrom.
Aye.
And the chair votes aye, and the vote is unanimous. Next up is motion 10 on the Mystic School playground upgrades. Ms. Minyarji.
Okay, so we've discussed this over the summer. This involves 2 shade structures and a water bottle refilling station located on the Mystic Playground. Both are safety concerns for the students that are using that space. And we supported this back in June. So I guess we want to reiterate that support. Do you want to make the motion?
I'm
Tim?
happy to make a motion that the school committee recommends favorable action on motion 10 of Article 8 for Fall Town Meeting.
Second.
All in favor, Ms. Minyarji,
Aye.
Dr. Matthews,
Aye.
Ms. Bergstrom,
Aye.
Mr. Hopcroft.
Aye.
And the chair votes aye, and the vote is unanimous on motion 10 for the Mystic School playground upgrades. Next up is motion 18, which is backstop and fence repair or replacement at multiple fields, and this includes Charcha Field. Ms. Minyarji, do you have some further comment on this one?
Yes, specific to our high school location, the fence there has needed considerable work for some time, and this motion covers that space in addition to others around town. But what's relevant for our committee is specifically the location of the high school.
I would be happy to make a motion that the school committee recommend favorable action on motion 18 of Article 8 for backstop and fence repair and replacement at multiple fields.
Thank you. Do we have a second?
Second.
Second.
Thank you. All in favor, Ms. Minyarji,
Aye.
Ms. Bergstrom,
Aye.
Dr. Matthews,
Aye.
Mr. Hopcroft.
Aye.
Thank you. And the chair votes aye as well. And thank you. And all of us are unanimous in our support on motion 18. So next up, we have Article 21, which is around engineering studies and documents for bid solicitation for potential sites to host solar power generation. And this is for constructing solar power on certain sites that include the Winchester High School via a rooftop or parking lot canopy, the McCall Middle School, a parking canopy, and the Vincent Owen School, with a parking canopy in the back lot, I believe.
I am, unless there are any questions, I'm happy to make a motion that the school committee recommend favorable action on Article 21 for Fall Town Meeting.
Second.
Thank you very much. And all in favor, Ms. Minyarji,
Aye.
Ms. Bergstrom,
Aye.
Dr. Matthews,
Aye.
and Mr. Hopcroft.
Aye.
And the chair votes aye, and the vote is unanimous on Article 21 for solar power generation at some of our schools. Article 28 is from the Winchester Committee on Community Preservation Project Appropriations, and specific to us is motion 2 from the DPW for supporting the Lincoln Elementary School HVAC, which Ms. Minyarji had talked about a little earlier. Ms. Bergstrom, might you have any comment on this one?
Not other than the WCCP unanimously supported this project. So we would be happy to have school committees supportive of it as well, as Ms. Minyard you described earlier.
I think just really quickly, the reason why this specifically applied, only because a couple of questions have been asked, is because Lincoln has a historic designation,
Correct.
and thus why it is eligible for CPA funds. I have to make sure I put that in my notes for my presentation.
Yeah, and it's great to have the partnership between capital planning and WCCP on this. I think it's a great use of funds, and appreciate the collaboration of both committees on that. And with that, I'm happy to make a motion that we recommend favorable action to town meeting on Article 28. Motion 2.
Thank you.
Second.
Thank you. All in favor, Ms. Bergstrom,
Aye.
Ms. Minyarji,
Aye.
Dr. Matthews,
Aye.
and Mr. Hopcroft.
Aye.
And the chair votes aye, and the vote is unanimous to support this as well for the Lincoln Elementary School HVAC with the WCCP. Thank you. And then next up, I guess we have already talked about these. These are our own articles. Article 30, the transfer of the Mystic School building from school committee to the select board. And then Article 34, the geographic information systems, professional consulting, which is co-sponsored after the fact with the planning board. We had already touched on these in our public hearing, and we've already voted to put these forward. So I don't think that we need to say that we have that we're giving favorable action on these.
And I just wanted to make, I think that's true. I just wanted to make one further comment because I just wanted to make sure I know that Finance Committee is meeting tonight at 8 o'clock, and I suspect that's why Dr. Goldblatt asked her question during the public hearing. But I just wanted to say one more time that this expenditure, which we do not anticipate will even reach the $100,000 mark for GIS consulting and reporting to support the school department's needs, is actually likely to inform decisions that we make around potentially millions of dollars in CapEx. And so I cannot understate the importance of making planful advance decisions so that we're able to actually make those decisions in an informed way and save money down the line for the town. I think this is something that we as a committee talked about quite substantially over the summer in our visioning process. It's something that came through in the vision statement that we put forward. And obviously, we have some decisions to make. We took the decision already on Mystic and hope that town meeting supports that. But in terms of being able to make good decisions about our buildings moving forward, including but not limited to the potential partnership with the MSBA around the Morocco School and the scope and size and type of project for that, as well as what to do with Parkhurst and where our students are going to be allocated in the district moving forward in as efficient as possible ways. I think this is just an absolutely essential need that we've been talking about in the committee for a long time. So when that comes up tonight, I hope that they would join us and the planning board in voting favorable action on that. So I just wanted to make that point extra clear. It's, it is a small expenditure in the greater scheme of things, but I think it really has the potential to save us a lot of money, both in terms of operating and capital expenses in the long term.
And I was just going to weigh in on that, really, to sort of double click on what Dr. Matthews was saying, that it's not, in my mind, an expense. It's a very modest investment. We talk a lot in our town about more data-driven decision making, and having good data up front will, especially when we're talking about things like school buildings, building new buildings, adding on buildings. We're talking about significant CapEx, as Dr. Matthews was just saying, and having the best data so we don't overbuild will save, potentially millions of dollars of taxpayer money. There's also the fact that we have, as a community, invested in the software. We've bought the platform, and to just leave it underutilized is another element here that we want to make sure we're being smart with taxpayer money and not investing money in things that aren't used, and making sure that we're able to use them as effectively as we can. So on both those points, I think, I would imagine that if as people think about the implications of spending a whole lot of money, we're a committee that's entrusted with a lot of resident dollars, and you want to make sure we're doing it with our eyes wide open. So um, that's it.
Thank you so much. Any further comments? Ms. Bergstrom, I see you have your. Okay, all right, just checking. All right. With that, if we have no further comments on the town meeting articles, then I would suggest that we move on with the youth risk behavior survey update from Ms. Kuhn.
So I will, all right, Aaron, all ready to go? I'll just share the presentation here. So tonight really is about trying to, it's a lot of slides, a lot of data. We wanted to provide you the slide deck that really is pretty comprehensive, although it's not certainly our intent to cover all the slides tonight. There's a lot of information here, and we would encourage you to spend some time with it. If you have some questions tonight, certainly, but you can either send questions to Aaron or to me, or we can also at some point in the future, if you want us to come back and highlight something in particular, we'd be happy to do that. So Aaron, I'll turn it over to you.
Great, thank you. It's good to see everyone tonight. Thank you for having me. So we're going to take a look at what has now been changed to the Youth Health Survey rather than the Youth Risk Behavior Survey. And my understanding of that is because more health has been included than risk and behavior to the survey. So as we get started tonight, this is the second time since I've been in Winchester that I've had the opportunity to work with the community to administer the survey. And it was just really interesting to me this second time around, where I was more familiar with what the survey was asking. What really jumped out for me was the connection and the interconnectedness of the data with the social emotional skills that we talk often about and integrate into our students' school day. And it was just so clear how the social emotional skills play such an important role in students' ability to reduce their risk and to increase their overall well-being. So it was just another example to me that really highlighted the important benefit of the work we're doing to integrate social, emotional, and academic learning in our schools. When we look at the data tonight, we'll see we have some areas where we're seeing some positive movement, and then some other directions where we're not seeing as much positive movement as we'd like, and we're identifying those as areas for growth. One area that we are seeing an improvement in is in the mental health data, which is excellent. We know that well-developed social and emotional skills are a protective factor for good mental health and also help individuals to manage mental health challenges should they arise. We're also seeing the majority of our students reporting that they do have someone in school or at home to connect with, and even friends when they have a problem. So that's another example of the importance of strong relationship skills, the ability to communicate effectively, advocate for themselves, and advocate well for others, along with working collaboratively with other people. Some of our areas for growth, as I mentioned, one is we're still seeing higher levels of discrimination and bullying for certain populations of our students. So this just highlights again the importance of us continuing to work on developing social awareness skills such as empathy and compassion, helping students to be able to take perspectives of others, especially people whose identities are different, cultures and experiences are different from their own, and working more and more to show concern for other people. And then when we look at the data, especially around things like substance abuse, technology, diet, sleep, those are opportunities where we really highlight the importance of continuing to support our students in their decision-making skills. so that they're better equipped to make decisions that will benefit their well-being moving forward. But just as a reminder for the Youth Health Survey, this has been administered since 2017 with the other Middlesex League communities. And at the secondary level, every 2 years, we work with the public health consulting firm JSI for the data collection, and the survey is based from the CDC's YRBS survey and the Massachusetts Youth Health Survey. So since we conducted the 2023 data that we've come together to review in the past, we've started some new initiatives. One was the Signs of Suicide program that we began last year in 7th, 9th, and 11th grade. And this is a program that provides education and also screens for suicidal risk. It teaches students how to ACT, which stands for acknowledging signs of suicide, being able to show a friend they care about them, and also involve or tell an adult when they're concerned about a peer or themselves. Teen mental health first aid program was implemented at the high school last year. This year it's moved into the 9th grade for those students. This fall, we have conducted the Columbia Suicide Risk Screening Tool training for the majority of our counselors and building administrators across the district. Last year, we engaged in some ongoing professional development and motivational interview training for our counselors. And motivational interviewing is an evidence-based approach to strengthening motivation, commitment to goals and change, and also enhances connection between adults and students. This year, we also collaborated with the Welcoming Schools, which is an organization that offers professional development for adults to continue to better support the LGBTQ plus student community. We'll be hoping to do some PD sessions with them later on this school year. I wanted to highlight here that our middle school now has daily flex blocks, which is another great opportunity for increased opportunities for connection between students and teachers and students and students. And our social emotional standards, 3 of them have been added to each grade level at the elementary level and put onto the report card to create more consistency around our integration of SEL skills. And some things we had discussed in the past that we're continuing on with since the 2023 data collection was the explicit teaching and integration of social emotional skills across the district. McCall is still conducting their primetime lessons throughout the year, which is grades 6 through 8 on various important topics. Educator PD is continuing in the areas of social emotional learning and mental health. The SBIRT, which stands for Screening, Brief Intervention, and Referral to Treatment for Substance Use and Education, happens in 7th and 10th grade at the middle and high school each year. And we're continuing with our ongoing counseling and social emotional support across the district. So as we move into the data, we just wanted to do a quick review of the key terms and acronyms that you'll be seeing throughout the data. And then the categories that the data, the data is collected on throughout the survey are here, and we'll touch upon a few of those in tonight's presentation. And like Dr. Hackett said, there's additional slides in the report itself where you can look at all the areas. And here we just want to go over our sample. At the high school, we had 1,184 students, 84% of the population participate. And at the middle school, we had 42 students, 90% of the population participate. And as we move into the data, I just like to remind people that depending on our own experiences and the data that we're seeing, sometimes the data can be difficult to digest all at once. So just making sure that you are taking care of yourself during the review of the data. We're going to start with some of the assets or protective factors that are part of the YHS survey. Here we're looking at adult and peer connectedness in our high school. So we see that there's a pretty significant amount of our students who feel connected to adults at school or family or adult friends or their own peers outside of school. And here they're looking at the question prompt is that they have someone they can go to if they have a problem. One thing I did want to highlight here that isn't part of this data set, but we conducted the Signs of Suicide program at the high school so far this year. And what we ask is that students do identify a trusted adult in the school building and a trusted adult outside of the school building as part of the survey. And it was really exciting to see that the vast majority of our 9th and 11th graders who participated in the program did identify a trusted adult in the school, with a total of over a total of 86 different staff members across the high school who were identified. So that was really exciting to see that our students are feeling that they have connection and people they can go to if they encounter a problem and need some support. Looking at some of the statistically significant data, we would notice that our Hispanic Latino students were less likely than the average high school student to have an adult connection in the school, and our transgender and gender diverse population and LGBTQ plus students were less likely than the average student to have a non-family adult outside of school or family adult connection, and white students were more likely to have a family connection outside of school. At the middle school, we also see a pretty significant amount of students feeling connected with others, while there's still area for growth. And you can look at some of this statistically significant data here. 6th grade students and LGBTQ plus students were less likely to have a non-family member outside of the school. LGBTQ plus and transgender, gender diverse students were significantly less likely to have a family member. White students were more likely to have a non-family member adult. Male students were more likely to have a family adult, and Black students were more likely to have a friend of a similar age that they felt they could go to. Moving on, we have participation in extracurricular activities. That's since we've been looking since last time in 2023, we already had a high participation. That's grown slightly. This includes any organization, organized activities outside of the school day or during the school day or part of our school community, such as our athletics and our clubs that are offered. And in the middle school, we also see a majority of students participating in extracurricular activities, and we're seeing a little bit of an increase there. Looking at sleep, at the high school, we're seeing an increase over time. We look at this, and data goes back to 2017, and we see high school students, while there's still 36%, it has grown that are getting 8 hours of sleep a night. And none of this data is proves causation, but there was a shift in a later start time for school at the secondary level years back that you don't know if that might have had a benefit to that or not. Middle school, we're also seeing an increase over time. And now we're moving into some experiences that our students have that may have some negative impact on their well-being. And one that I mentioned earlier on was students experiencing discrimination. So we see here that our Hispanic students were more likely to experience discrimination, along with our transgender students and gender diverse students, and our white students experiencing less. And in middle school, we also saw transgender, gender diverse students experiencing more discrimination, along with our LGBTQ plus students. Here, there's a little bit of data on sexual violence. We're seeing that that is going down over time, but still, just important to know that some of our students are experiencing some traumatic events, and we always want to be aware in the school system that some of our students are experiencing a variety of types of trauma, and we want to be using trauma-informed practices to best support those students. And then moving into bullying. Still seeing, some bullying going on at school. At the high school, we have seen a decrease over time, which is moving in the right direction. Again, we want to continue to do what we're doing, starting at the young elementary grades, working on SEL skill development, and then continuing on in the middle school and in the high school through the health curriculum. And even trends and topics around bullying can often come up in literature or social studies class with different events that teachers are able to explore with students. We do see in the middle school a bit of an increase in bullying behavior. So here we want to dig a little deeper into seeing what might be going on here. And in addition to what we're already doing, supporting students with lessons in the prime time at the middle school and in health, what else we can be doing to try to decrease this. There's also some bullying going on using electronics. Similar trend, it's decreasing at the high school, but we're seeing a bit of increasing at the middle school as well. And when we look at the bullying, we want to be sure to take a look at certain student populations that are enduring more bullying than others so that we can continue to dig into this data and try to figure out what else we can be doing differently to better support these students. We see it in the areas of sexual orientation, gender identity, and race. And in the middle school, also see it with gender identity, sexual orientation. And at the middle school, there was a little bit of significantly less reporting of bullying from the Hispanic Latino students. So looking now at, how student well-being, we could start by looking at stress. Stress in the report falls under the mental health category. However, stress, isn't always considered a mental health condition, but more a physiological mental response that people can have. But over time, when it can become overwhelming or chronic, it can have negative impact on not only mental well-being, but physical well-being, and sometimes can involve needing to get some professional support. So in the high school, we do see that student stress is decreasing to some degree, which is good to see. You can see here some areas that our high school students are finding to be more stressful than others, specifically looking at some school issues and issues of the future jump out at the high school. And this is just looking at student coping strategies. And we wanted to look at those as well in terms of managing stress, since we know even though our numbers are decreasing with stress, we know our students do experience stress, especially in the secondary level. And we want to be looking at what's their sense of their ability to cope and what else can we be doing in school and in the community to continue to give them opportunities to strengthen their coping skills and to be able to develop more and practice more. We do see, again, some statistical significance with females and transgender youth feeling more stress or reporting more stress than others, males reporting less, and also LGBTQ plus students experiencing more stress. At the middle school level, we're seeing less stress than at the high school, but they are seeing a slight increase. Similar areas of concern at the high school, with a little bit more concern around stress in the middle school around social issues and appearance, which makes sense just based on developmental characteristics of middle school. And they too are seeing more of an increase than the high school with their coping skills, but we still see more work to be done there and helping the students to feel a better sense of agency in dealing with their stress. And here we also see gender differences in terms of the stress of our middle school students, along with sexual orientation. And general mental health, at the high school, we are seeing a decrease, which is great. 15% of students reporting that their mental health has not felt good most of the time or always in the past 30 days. This is definitely trending in the right direction. At the high school. And then I know it looks like, and Dr. Hackett, looking at the time, we might want to just skip ahead without looking at the breakdowns now to keep the meeting on track, but just to jump to the middle school overall general mental health, if that makes sense.
It does, but you're asking a lot.
Okay, sorry.
What slide?
Slide 40.
40, got it.
And that just also shows at the middle school that we are seeing general mental health. The students reporting it not to be good is decreasing, which again is great to see. While we will always be continuing to, work together to support students, try to get that number lower, and definitely continue to support them through their, counseling and social emotional skill building and sense of community throughout the school and in the classroom. And I think we were going to stop there to keep track of time. Thank you.
Thank you, Aaron.
Thank you so much. Are there any questions or comments from the committee? Ms. Mignardi?
Erin, does your report cover all of the questions that were asked in the youth risk survey from this past year? It covers all of the main categories, or does it address each specific question? I've never seen the survey, so I don't know how
Yeah, when you go
it's
through the survey, it has the different categories and the questions
right.
that were asked within there. So that will be shared as well. So that breaks it down. And then for the slides, I did the majority of what's in the survey, just in slide, or in the report, just in slide form, just for
Right.
different ways to go through it.
Because I've never seen the survey, so would you be able to share the last year's survey, at least the questions that were asked?
Sure.
And I know there were some concerns, not just within our own community, but in our surrounding towns about parent access to the survey, to have the opportunity to review it, and just to, I believe, and please correct me if I'm wrong, that the survey is made available for parents to review at the library, is it?
At
And
the
is that going?
library and the schools.
And the school, so they can go into the main office at the middle or high and at our library and ask to see a copy, and they can review it and then exercise any right that they may have to opt out.
Yes, and the library was a piece just so that if they're working and can't get in during the school day, that it just provided more opportunity for accessibility.
Excellent, excellent. So that's great that we make it available and that we honor parent rights around this. So thank you again.
Sure, thank you.
Thank you. Ms. Bergstrom?
Hi, Erin. Thank you so much for this. This is always interesting and often sobering information. There's some good news in there this time about how our kids are doing, so that's good to see. Um, I'm curious, not necessarily for today, but moving forward. It looks like 23 and now 25, the trends are moving downward for some of the more concerning areas. But that first data point was 21, which is just coming off COVID. And I'm interested in how those look with the survey that was just 2 years before that. Are we moving back to sort of a baseline of where we were prior to COVID, or are we really seeing a trend that the concerning areas are decreasing over time?
No, that's a great point. That's definitely information we can pull together.
Thanks.
Dr. Matthews?
Thank you again, Ms. Kuhn, for this. I think it's helpful, and I think I just also wanted to highlight the fact that there is some good news here, particularly around student mental health and sort of a continued recovery from the sort of core part of the pandemic period. If it's okay with you, just in the interest of time, since I know the committee has a pretty hard stop in an executive session ahead of us, I'm going to follow up with you on some specific data questions that I have. But I'm happy to hold them in the interest of time tonight, because I think it's something that's probably more specific interest of mine as opposed to something for the committee. So I just wanted to very briefly say thank you so much for your work. Thank you for the concise presentation tonight and all that you do to support our school communities. We really appreciate you coming and sharing these important data with us. I know that, as I always say, being married to the chair of the Board of Health, I know there are others in the community who are always eager to see these data and understand how they impact the community. So thank you so much for your succinct presentation and look forward to continuing the conversation in the future.
Thank you. Me too.
And I'll just
Mr.
weigh in.
Hopcroft?
Thank you, Madam Chair. And I'll just weigh in to say thank you as well. I haven't had the opportunity to read the 70 pages fully yet. So, I will reserve any questions until after I've done that. But I do appreciate Ms. Bergstrom's question, because throughout the report, it goes back to 2021. So I think it's a great question of whether that's just a high moment in time or so I'd be curious to have that additional information as I go through it. But I also wanted to double click on Dr. Matthews' point about I think having a concise report that gives just a very high level is great here, and we can go deeper into the data tables and whatnot in the report. So thank you very much.
Sure.
And for the committee, you do have, sorry, Aaron, you do have the full report in your materials folder. So,
Yeah.
I was just about to say, I was looking
Which is-
forward to reading the full report.
which is more than 70 pages, I believe.
No, it's about
Yes.
70, and then you get into appendices.
I was counting the appendices. Okay, Mr.
Okay,
Gotbarth.
there you go.
Okay, let's
There-
not be
there you go.
correcting me in public session, please. Thank you.
I withdraw my correction
For the record.
for the record.
Thank you, Aaron.
Thank
right,
you.
thank
I would
you.
also just say a big thank you for the presentation. And I was glad to see that that students having a trusted adult at school or within their circles or among their friends I think that's a great trend to see. And I also just wanted to say that I appreciate the programming that is being offered at the different levels and at the high school, particularly in the 9th and the 11th grades. So thank you so much.
Thank you.
Okay, so let's see. Oh, now we have reached next meetings. So our next meeting will be November 20th. Thankfully, since we have finished up all of our votes of support for the different articles, we no longer need to have a pre-town meeting next week. So our plan is that we will not go forward with this. So next time we'll meet will be November 20th, apart from town meeting. And then next we have an executive session for purpose 3, which is to discuss strategy with respect to, oh no, I have all of your pictures over my text.
With respect
With
to
respect
collective bargaining.
To collective bargaining, as the chair declares that an open meeting may have a detrimental effect on the negotiating position of the committee.
I would be happy to make a motion that we move into executive session and adjourn directly from executive session and therefore not come back into public session on Zoom.
Second.
Second.
Thank you. All in favor? Ms. Bergstrom,
Aye.
Ms. Minyarji,
Aye.
Dr. Matthews,
Aye.
Mr. Hopcroft,
Aye.
and the chair votes aye, and the vote is unanimous. So we will see you in executive session. And
You
thank you
have-
very much to the community this evening.
You also have
Thank
that
you so
link in your
much.
email. The executive
Thank you.
session link is in your email.
All right.
Okay.
And thank you to WinCam as always for tracking this online meeting. Have a good night, everyone.
Good night.
Thank you.